I woke up to the refinery glow, feeling my hands still running low. Blueprints stacked on the bench again. Every new fix just leads to 10. Walls go up, then the hunger grows. Another upgrade, another load. I built this place with my own 2 hands. Now it keeps asking me to stand. I'm tired, but I'm still here, counting every scrap I clear. If I keep my head on straight, it's worth it in the end. Gather the fuel at the edge of town, drag it back when the sun goes down. Research lines on a cracked up screen, chasing what this whole thing means. I upgrade one, then I need 2 more. That's the kind of life I can't ignore. It's frustrating, yeah, I won't pretend, but I'm not leaving this halfway built. I'm tired, but I'm still here, counting every scrap I clear. If I keep my head on straight, maybe this will turn to fate. Worth it in the end, worth it in the end. I keep on building, I keep on bending. Worth it in the end, worth it in the end. Every hard day, every slow spend, I tell myself it's worth it in the end. Worth it in the end. Ooh. Worth it in the end. I keep on building, I keep on bending. Worth it in the end, worth it in the end. I've come too far to just give in, so I keep on going, I keep believing. Worth it in the end, worth it in the end. You're stay down. Fresh in the gate, bag gear, blank slate. You and your Illuvials, hungry, not great. Boots on the stone, hands on the rail. First slam in the arena, first hard fail. They read your move, then broke your line. One clean strike and you fell every time. Dust on your face, grin still alive. You said run it back just to survive. Round after round you stayed in the fire. Every scar taught you higher, higher. You learned their feints, their breath, their pace. You learned how to lose without losing your place. Round after round you rise. Round after round you rise. They knocked you down, you got back up. Now you drink that pain like a champion cup. Round don't stay down. New scars stacked up on your name, bad brackets, bad draws, same old shame. Your alluvial shook, then stood again. Little by little they learned to win. One move left when the trap got set. One took the hit, never blinks yet. You stopped chasing glory, started to build. Slow hand, sharp heart, iron will. And after round you stayed in the fire. Every fall turned the spark a little brighter. You learned their things, their breath, their pace. You learned how to lose without losing your place. Round after round, you rise. Round after round, you rise. They knocked you down, you got back up. Now you drink that pain like a champion cup. Round after round, you rise. Round after round, you rise from the floor to the crown. You don't stay down. Long nights, long walks back, salt in your mouth, cracks in the track. Then one clean break, one perfect call. Your team moved like one and they took it all. No more panic, no more please, just calm in the blaze, eyes on the keys. The crowd went wild when your name hit high. You looked at the ring like, this is mine, mine, mine. This is mine, 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 mine. Round after round, you rise. Round after round, you rise. They knocked you down, you got back up. Now you drink that pain like a champion cup. Round after round, you rise. Round after round, you rise from the floor to the crown. You don't stay down. Champion, no. You rise. Champion, now. You rise. The bruises were proof you came through.
Alright, hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. It's a little bit of a different day. It's an arena try-hard day here for me, so I'm going to be trying my damnedest, hop onto the arena with my best teams. Not going to be focusing on leveling today, trying to actually win every single round, which is going to be obviously very, very tough. I am not necessarily the best in regards to this game, far from it. And same thing with my team. My team's not bad, but gonna still give it our all nonetheless, try and score some podiums, try to stay on the positive side of the ranked leaderboards here today. Gear, good to see you. Wolverine, good to see you. I hope you're both having a fantastic day. Yes, Gear, by all means, you can always blame me. That's totally fine. Always have, always will, totally fine there. We're in for some bad gameplay, 100%. I'm playing Scions. That, in its own right, is probably pretty bad. But we'll make do the best we can as we get into our first game here in just a couple of moments. Quickly getting situated on the music front as well. Sounds like me? Absolutely. Alright. So get queued on up, and of course, by all means, if anybody wants to try and stream snipe me, you're more than welcome to. Because if you're going to contest my units, that means that you're contesting Scions, and then who's really going to be laughing because you're now the one playing Scions? I'll queue up here in just a second, and we're going to hop into this extremely quickly, actually. There we go. Prowlers, Zyfet, Matter 1, that's a new name here to me. Then our Boots, Wildfire, coming on through here for our first game today. Now, this is Prowler's second account. I know they have at least two, maybe even a third at some point here. So, they put in a lot of time, a lot of effort into their Illuvials. We'll see how this account goes. Scoop up our little Tipo nice and quick. Region-wise this time, it's the Crystal Shores where you have to get the rerolls by fusing. So every time we evolve one of those Illuvials, get a nice little free roll. That was too fast, could not snipe ya. I mean, how often do we queue up and immediately find a game just like that? It's usually pretty rare. We're going in for about 2 hours worth of matches, so there's still going to be plenty of time. Try again, of course. The game plan, of course, for those that may be new to a stream where I'm actually the one competing and not just commentating. So, I made the mistake. My main team for this entire time has been Scions and Invokers. A team that has like a really beefy front line that can hold on long enough so that my Invokers ramp up and do more and more damage. But is that team actually good? Not necessarily. It's not been meta for a long time, if not ever. So, in terms of playing the meta, I am not necessarily in a great position to do so. All of my other teams are still in progress. I have a couple of decent teams, but are they anywhere near as good as, say, my actual Invokers? No. So even though it might not necessarily be a meta team, it's high enough level that it should be able to get me through. Telling us this team sucks. Not necessarily that my team sucks. In fact, I love my team, but at least in terms of the style of play, it's been having a hard time for quite a while. But at the same time, I understand why in the past it's always been scary to buff it, because if my team is overpowered, then it's going to be a corner versus corner meta game over and over again, just watching two corners just shoot across the field at each other, and that's not necessarily the funnest of, or the most entertaining of sorts. As always, if there's the chance to scoop up a Lynx, I will 100% take it. Let's make this guy as beefy as we possibly can. Gladly accept that. We do have another Scion. Get our Scion synergies online. We're going up against Zyfet. Something like this, so that my Lynx isn't immediately focused down, by everything at least. Yeah, 2 out of 5, not bad. If I recall correctly, Zyfet's been leveling a handful of Illuvials. So while normally I would say I'd immediately get crushed, if they're leveling, I might be able to stand a chance. And this one's actually pretty close, all things considered. The Flish nearly getting the job done. It's all going to come down to the Emberling Rod, and that Flish has way too much health, yeah. Oh, that was a level 60 Flish. Here I'm talking about leveling. Meanwhile, that Flish was an absolute beast. Fair enough, there's Zyfet. Okay, I'm happy to take the combat rhythm here for the Omnivamp specifically. While the attack damage is nice, that's not 100% like what I'm truly going for, if that makes sense. Alright, my Lynx inadvertently is going to be a tank here, going up against Prowler now. We have a couple in the 20s, it looks like, and a few in the 30s, actually. So, relatively up-and-coming, but relatively strong squad still. I should have at least a little bit of a better opportunity here compared to, like, when I was playing up against Zyfet there. My Lynx, of course, level 30 as well. One of the Illuvials that I do need to level up. But I don't have anything better at the moment, so I'll gladly keep it on the field for the time being. We are going to be able to take Prowler down this time at least. There we go. Grocko now here, so I can actually have a true tank online. Archie as well coming on through here. Going up against one of the bots, they do have the level advantage on me. Do I have enough faith? I mean, the bots are low enough level, I think, that I can just keep this as is. And let my level 60 to Tofi hopefully carry the game. I keep seeing that symbol, and then it always shows up as something I can't read. But Texan, good to see you. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Lots of low health bars, but I do have only a couple of my weak Ranger and weak Flish. We are going to be able to clean up, actually, so that did pay off here this time. The one thing I do love but hate at the exact same time here is, like, we do see Matter 1, for example, looks like a new player here, at least for me, to Illuvium. And love to see it, but as you can tell, with all their units being level 1, I'm going to be put into a very awkward spot once I play them. It's easily the most painful feeling I have as somebody playing Illuvium right now. I know I've talked about it before, but it doesn't get any better. Just consistently, whenever we see a new player, they could have the perfect team built, but if they don't have levels, they just get killed, and that's so, so sad. Multiple new people today. That is incredible. That's awesome. Okay, nature's probably the way to go. Let's give that to my Lynx for the time being. But they never round a single one. English. They never won a single round. Yeah, like one of the truest combos. I know, again, I've said this before, but the true combo here in Illuvium is new player into minus 99 because, of course, minus 99, if you see that on their health bar, that means they surrendered, and that is one of the most heartbreaking things to see. You can only take, like, you can lose and be fine, but you could only take so many curb stompings before you look elsewhere and stop traveling down that road, so to speak. So I know Arena's in an awkward spot, of course, with Nil just recently departing the arena side of things. I think they're still working on the deathmatch side of things still. But very awkward spot. I definitely hope somebody comes in to clutch things up here. Because again, I know Arena could absolutely be used as a marketing tool towards Obelisk Rising, and let's go, Lynx! There we go, it got the 1v3 finish. Absolutely love it. Okay, level 5. We now need... Oh, an early Squiz. I'll take that. Going up against Matter. Do I want to give force him up against a Squiz? No, I'm not going to force him against a Squiz. Not like anything that I'm going to be able to change is going to be able to actually do anything. But here off the bench a little bit. Potential Exalted Waterflish coming around. Yeah, I feel bad for Matter in this case here. Yeah, they're going to look at my length and see level 30 compared to your level 1. And that's on the low side here for my team. So, Matter, I'm happy to see you keep pushing. I know this opening portion of Illuvium is going to be very, very tough. But I'm rooting for you. Definitely are. You and all of our newcomers. Because this, to me, still is probably one of the most rewarding games to play once you actually get yourself established over that hump that is the early stages, the early levels. The scary part is that even I'm not over that hump, technically. I have a couple level 60s, but not very many at all. Blink Dash coming on through. I got my TNT, my big early game carry, ready to rock. I'm still sitting here at level 5 because there's a few Illuvials that I would love to be able to pick up. While I am seeing a lot of water, and that is going to make me at least a little bit concerned, I would love to at least get Axon, potentially Caradulo, and then as always, no matter what, if I can pick up a Lynx for free, or not for free, but with minimal rolling, I am happy and content with that. And looking at Prowler in this instance, they're the only one who's actually spent a ton so far in this early game. And even still, with the Nimble Lynx, they do not have too many. There's a couple here for Matter as well. But, well, I'm not focused on the Lynxes. If I pick it up while I'm looking for my Axon and looking for my Caradulo, no harm, no foul, we'll take it. Oh, I missed the Flish. I should have grabbed that. Health and Omnivamp, let's do that. Gladly accept 2 more Archies. There's our Axon. There's another Quiz, actually, even coming into play. That's pretty rare to find. Double Mammoth is definitely tempting at the exact same time, but I'm going to wait till later to snag that. TNT, potentially. There is a Flish, but I'm actually just going to completely ignore that for now. We'll actually throw the Flish out of here. Caradulo, not quite going to find it this time, but we now at least have Harbinger online. And I'm slowly building up my support line at the same time. Of course, Archos Goyle is on the bench ready to rock whenever necessary. So if I have to go up against Zyphet or one of our actual players in the lobby, I will 100% switch out my Atipo and instead bring in the Archos. We're actually on a pretty good little win streak here, over 5 wins so far. So I can afford to just keep on rolling as of this moment. The TNT is a question mark. We do see Blink Dash with 2 of the snails, but that's basically it. A couple good choices. I love the idea of getting 3 energy regen, considering how my team is. And finding the Octius. I'm going to swap out Flish. Octius can come on through here in just a second. It's situated kind of like this. There's another snail. We are well on our way from potentially getting Seaforus, and we do also find another Archie, so we're 2 away from potentially going to a full Archelion. Fusion. Let's do the piercing variant, the synchronizing. Now we need to move somewhat quickly. How do we want to do this? Our bench is definitely cluttered. In fact, I think the wisest choice would be to get rid of the Lynxes since they're somewhat contested. And then just go for everything else. Dorito coming in through is going to make things a little bit awkward, but I think I'll pass for now. There we go, our 2 big upgrades going up against Zyphet now. Let's bring in the big turtle. Put this onto you, actually. Early Invoker. And we'll move some of those around. And I was not fast enough. I absolutely could have another level, another Illuvial on the field. I don't think I'm beating this right now. And seeing that there's both the Axodon and the Cardalox coming out here from Zyphet, they just have way more firepower in regards to evolutions. My Octius and Seaforus are going to keep this honest, but with the consistent charms coming on through here from the Winx, for example, it's going to put me in a little bit of a tough spot. Lots of beefy bodies going to lead the charge. That's alright. Sucks that I lost my win streak, and 1 additional Illuvial probably would not have made that. I could be coping just because of my lack of APM. Those StarCraft days are done, or long gone. Do something like this here, going up against Prowler. Do I want to maybe give my Empath's a little bit more protection. Let the Lynx stay down, or do I want to keep it on? I'm not 100% sure. Let's make you super tanky. You can have some too. Lynx is going to be just more glass cannon now. Can we level up again? We absolutely can, so we don't have to actually choose. A Tipo. Thread the needle, why don't we? Do some sort of protection like this. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's get back into the swing of things there. Sorry. Wavy had a call that I had to sit on there for a second. We were able to take it versus Prowler, so that worked out. Can't complain about that. Hope the family's doing well. Thank you so much. All is good now. We had, of course, a little bit of a rough couple of years there with the old apartment, but things have been, knock on wood, everything has been absolutely fantastic over the last little bit. Hope everything's going good for you and your family as well. Uncool down. We should be able to lock this down. There we go. Keeping the YouTube on, but going out for World Cup. Hell yeah, good luck with whomever it is that you happen to be going for. And just, regardless of results, I hope you enjoy your time. And you have a good day as well. Thank you, Texan. Yeah, I believe it's, what, France versus Morocco going on today? Player, can I potentially bring you in? I don't think I can. For the sake of leveling, I'm going to bring in the Fern, and I think that'll be a nice choice here versus the Sinolf, so I'm not going to complain about that. Gonna grab the flare here as well, bring it in so I do have my third bulwark, allowing for my Axon to be a little bit beefier. Yeah, those shields able to hold the front lines. It's going to be the Sinolf beam that's going to be a little bit concerning, but at least it's going into the Fernite and going into my Ranger, and my Ranger has a bunch of Omnivamp, so when it fires off its moves, it's going to be healing itself a pretty considerable amount here. Good interrupt, or I don't know if I necessarily got the interrupt on, but I still have my Invokers cooking right now, and so far, good shot there for the Ranger, good shot for the Octius. Now it's gonna be where it counts. Can my Sephirus keep sustaining through all the damage that I imagine the Sinolf is going to put onto it? Shot from the Ranger is going to go away. We do finally get rid of the Sinolf, and there we go. In a 1 versus 1, the Sephirus is king. There we go. Ador coming through might be a wise choice at the same time. So depending on whether I need healing or depending on what if I need interrupts, that might be a interesting way to do it. Like I could switch them out accordingly. Something like that. And then we're in a pretty decent spot. I need that cling. That is how I'm going to get Verdant into the squad, just adding for even more healing. Correct. France and Morocco is today. Okay, perfect. Okay, another Empath potentially, another Scion potentially, or Bulwark. I mean, I'd love to get a Mammoth, and then having a Bulwark chip for Mammoth is usually a pretty solid choice. So, Bulwark chip for Mammoth. Let's level up to 9. Have exactly enough. So then I could put Cling here for 4 Bulwark. And then I could even put for temporarily Bulwark onto the Archelion. Let's do a Bruiser Augment. Not going to get the one that I was looking for. I was looking for the Restorating Impact Reactor. But this might not be a bad idea. Let's throw that to you. Make my Sephirus just that little bit more tanky, and then I'm going to recycle this. Going to make a slight adjustment. I would love it for my Ranger to be the one actually tanking the Sin-Off beam because of that Omnivamp. We'll see if my Adorito, or not my Adorito, my Ador is far enough away, or if it gets clipped. It does get clipped. So my positioning does need to be a little bit better there if I want to try and do this next time. And a interrupt with the Fern would have probably been a better idea, unfortunately. We will end up losing, but I actually want to keep my interest going here. Yeah, our boots. Did they have to spend a lot? No, they're actually sitting very pretty, actually, now that I take a look at this. A refresh the cost, healing, Omnivamp. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Can we get some more potentially? We're going to miss the augment again. Okay, so I'm going to swap that over. We're just going to be recycling this over and over again. I still have 63 HP, so I'm going to slowly crawl with my current amount of credits. Just slowly but surely move up. I would love to be able to hit level 10 and then go nuts. I feel like I'm still in a decent enough spot. Granted, this squad coming out here from Zyphet is very scary. They too have gone Sin-Off. And as much as I would love to have Dual F in this composition, with both our boots as well as Zyphet both having Sin-Offs, the likelihood of me getting that is going to be super, super slim. So I'm going to have to actually look more so towards Aphisto if I want to truly get this team to pop off. If I can scoop up a Dual F, or not a Dual F, if I can scoop up at least a Sin-Off to get one more Invoker onto my team, that'd be incredible. But as we're seeing right now, this is going to be very tough. Missing the augment that I was looking for once again. Going up against our boots this time. My Ador keeps getting clipped in regards to that Sin-Off beam, so I'm trying my best to spread out a little bit. You know, my Lynx is still technically here as well, which is not a good thing by all means, so let's make that switch. Lynx out, Fernite in, or Fern in, rather. There's a world where maybe even picking up a Winx would be wise. Scarabok potentially as well, get that thing evolved. There we go. Now the Ranger can actually tank. And we do have a little bit of interrupts now that Fern is here as well. We've made the top 4, so no matter what, we're going to be in the points. It's just a matter of how many. Yeah, our boots, Zyphet, both looking very good. Prowler doing a solid job as well, but seems to be on their way down. I'm going to be right there with them. And it's looking like I'm actually going to have to make my move. This round's coming up, otherwise I'm going to run out of gas. Yeah, down to 21. I could absolutely die here if things don't go my way. Double Mammoth. We're not going to end up getting the augment that we're looking for, so we're going to have to just do with what we have. Mammoth Flare. Get you at least into position a little bit, something like that. There's my Verdant. Gyaradulo, swap. Squiz. Gonna be just short, unfortunately. So I really have to hope the squad's just beefy enough now to be able to hold off Prowler. Then we get an NPC round. And we'll be in great shape. That Rampfire does scare me, but it looks like it did not actually get much damage off, or it went all into shields. So beautifully done here from the squad, able to just be an essential brick wall right when I needed them. Gyaradulo can be sold off here. Get at least a little bit of credits back here. 1 away from Mephisto. 2 away from Dualef. Or not Dualef, Sin-Off. Is there a world where I could potentially hit level 10? Actually, yeah, very much so. 24 credits still in the bank. I can absolutely do that. Hitting Mammoth is going to be unlikely, considering Zyphet's position. Move some of the tanky augments. around kind of like that. Let Goliath have a little bit more agency here in this battle. And we have a red component. Let's see. Is this a legendary augment? It is. Oh boy. Okay. Do I want tankiness or just raw DPS? I think tankiness is usually the answer here in this instance. The Temporal Guard's actually kind of cheeky as well. I would love to be able to pull that off. So let's go. Level 10. Aphisto has arrived. And this is going to be my tried and true Sustain Ophisto. With legendary augments assisting. Additional tankiness coming on through. Can we hit a Sinol? There we go. We do actually end up hitting it. So the last minute change here to get for Invoker is now online. Our Boots has a very, very scary squad, but so do I. Let's see how this goes. Sinol's going to get its shot off. Does have a decent shot, but it's not going to survive very, very long. Aphisto, rain it down. There we go. 2 tanks immediately gone. But we are losing our tanks. But can we sustain through this and just do enough damage? At least the foe is not looking at us. Look at this, though. Every single time Aphisto casts, we have a bunch of Omnivamp. There goes the foe. We're going to possibly hang on here. Drop it down, backline down. Our Boots had a hell of a run here, but we can finally muster some sort of comeback. Ethic, good to see you, and you're very, very welcome. I'm glad that the Jotun was able to come through Deathmatch, and then, yeah, the Community Rescue has you covered with the Sears. So I'm very thankful they were able to find a spot here for your squad. That's awesome. Absolutely my pleasure. Okay, so there's the Sinol here as well. Oh, no, it's my Sinol. Right there. Okay, so I'm going to intentionally move a couple of these. Oh, no, I kind of want to keep you in that corner, I think. Trying to make it so that Cephorus has plenty of time. And it has plenty of tankiness thanks to the surging stasis reactor to be able to just absorb the shots from this Sinol. Be much better. It barely feels like it's doing anything, right? So it essentially just negates the power of that Sinol. Just absorb it over and over, essentially use it as a way to charge. Yeah, just like that. Sinol's already gone. We just gotta get rid of these frontliners now. I did make the switch to Spore. My Bloom Invoker wasn't doing me any good whatsoever, so I might as well at least get Spore online since Adorito's here. And yeah, we're gonna be able to hold this rather nicely. Sustain Ophisto barely even got touched this time. And there we go. Heck, we were even hyper for that fight, and I don't even necessarily know what hyper does half the time. So damage up, amp, and reduction. Yeah, I never would have guessed. You'd think for someone who's played the game as long as I have, that I would at least know what, you know, the super effective portions of the game do. But oddly enough, it's not usually super relevant. So I straight up don't. Oddly enough. Alright. Every round is scary. I could absolutely get killed off here by our Boots if they got a significant upgrade. We do see they are one foe away from potentially finding foe or a phosphorus. Would love to be able to lock one down here. As long as we can survive. It might not matter if it just gets killed off here. Repturus onto my Aphisto. We do get one kill. Reset. Take care of the Furiox. This is looking pretty solid. Good shunt from the Mammoth. There's one. There's two. The squad is performing admirably here. Beautiful. Zyphet is now gone as well. So just a one-on-one now. They do hit the phosphorus, so there's no point in me holding one. Now, let's see. Did they keep... Oh, yeah, Sinolf's still there directly in the middle. I think we're in a pretty decent spot still to just not move. Yeah, I'm going to try to not take the bait. My Goliath is going to go directly towards that Phosphorus. Yes, the ghosting screams from that Phosphorus is going to go into my Hephaesto, but my Hephaesto should be able to sustain through it, and if anything, use this as a way to charge my Omega just that little bit faster. As long as they're not directly on top of my Hephaesto, that would be where things get problematic. And there we go. Phosphorus gone, so is the Rip Lance, or the Riptorus. It's only down to the backline, which I believe, backline versus backline, I could absolutely capitalize. There we go. Feeling good here in this fight, even with the Phosphorus. Normally I see a Phosphorus and I'm basically ready to call GG's, but not this time. Just have to break through that Blotto, which we should be able to slowly but surely. There we go, one more win and we're right there. NPC rounds coming on through. Any Alphys by chance? Does not look like it. What could they do to potentially upgrade more? It is Alphys that they're searching for. So, okay, they're going to be picking up some. But in terms of the race to Duelef, I am way closer. If we could somehow get a nature chip out of here so I can get 6 nature, I think that'd be the icing on the cake. There'd be just too much passive healing to overcome. This might not be a bad idea either. There we go. Restorating Impact Reactor. And Nature Chip. There we go. Best case scenario. In fact, let's set it up kind of like this, since it looks like my Seer is going to get tackled first off. Could give some sustain over here. The race for the Duelef seems to be underway. It's going to be hard to hit, but it's the only thing that I can use to actually upgrade here as well. Pick one off the board, potentially steal another. Not quite. So one way or another, this will be the finishing blow. I think I'm still... It might seem stupid, but I feel like I'm still very confident with Hephaesto into this position, even if Phosphorus was right in front of it. We are going to see a last-minute move. It's going to be the Ranger trying to tank my Goliath instead. So Phosphorus is going to try to take the other way around through the Mammoth. But the Mammoth, if it stays safe, it should be able to shunt it away. The Ghosting Screams are still able to actually hit the Hephaesto, but again, just charges it right up. That Temporal Guard gonna just keep that Hephaesto nice and sustained. Good shot there for the Ranger as well. The health bars are falling rather nicely. There goes the Phosphorus. We will clean this up. What a way to start off the day. 4 Invokers coming in clutch here. GG's, everybody. Big man JB, it's been a while. Good to see ya. I hope you're having a fantastic day. And going good overall. Get a bunch of levels in here. I did just refresh my boosts going into today's stream, because especially my tier 0s needed it, and good to see even the Lynx getting up there as well, breaking into the 30s. Yeah, the 4 Invoker, getting the shields every single time my Illuvials end up casting, yeah, it was the shields from Invoker, the shields from the Temporal Guard in particular as well onto Hephaesto. Because at least that's what I'm finding the most success with when it comes to Hephaesto. Personally, I don't see a lot of people intentionally playing Squiz at all. And if they do, they're kind of just splashing Octius on. I don't usually see people go for Hephaesto. Because, yes, it's a glass cannon, but you can build it in a way to where it feels surprisingly tanky. That's why, even though my team is basically doing Omega power or ability damage, right? Or damage off of the Omegas, I don't build any Omega power. They already have enough innate Omega power, and personally I feel like, at least right now, the Omega power boosting augments do not offer anywhere near enough utility and strength to actually be worth going for. You're better off just going super tanky and building sustain which is why I love the Restorating Impact Reactor. Getting things like the combat rhythm and the bloodthirsters, or bloodthirst, even though it's not an auto attack based composition, because every single time my Mephisto drops down, it all of a sudden shoots back up. So hey, it's just a perfect case scenario. So thank you so much. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Fairly good success with my Water Nature Center comp. Glad some things don't change. Keep it up, keep grinding. Hope the Destiny side of things went well for you as well. I know you're focusing on that for a little while there. I personally miss Destiny, actually, a lot. When Destiny 2 first came out, I had a PlayStation 4 with Destiny on it. I played it to all hell and back, and it got stolen out of my apartment. And my apartment got broken into a long time ago, and they took my PS4. I haven't played it since. But it was fun while it lasted. Gonna be very, very quick here. Just throwing the AC on now that the storm slowed down. Yeah, that's a good start to the day, and I'm very, very thankful to have been able to win that one. Because, yeah, in regards to the Illuvials that I'm using, like, I'm not a top player by any means. I'm above average, but here, I'm going to flashbang you with the spreadsheet as per usual, so watch out. 3, 2, 1, fire on through. Of course, I keep track with this chart. I know this isn't necessarily the most efficient, but I personally am a sucker for numbers and keeping track of them myself. But as it stands right here, right now, my Ranger level, of course, I didn't audit it after my last match, so some of these levels aren't necessarily accurate. But my average Illuvial level is about 40 with my Ranger level currently, and then average TPI is about 77. So my team's a B in terms of strength, but there's absolutely a long way to go still in terms of eventually finding upgrades for this team, which then means I'm going to have to level them back up again. But I'm in absolutely no rush to get there. Yeah, my biggest hurdle in regards to at least Ranger level, it's all of my tier 0s. I got the opportunity to upgrade a bunch of them when Deathmatch first came out through the packs in that way, putting my extra Illuvials into the fray, and able to pull out a couple of upgrades. But with that, there are a handful of Illuvials, like say my Atipos are still level 17, for example. A couple of my Flish is still level 1. Just haven't had the opportunity to truly utilize it. But I do have a couple of All-Stars. You'll see them in the purple, of course. Archie and Archos, Atlas, Axon, Kiradulo, the Snails. And then majority of my Lynxes are actually pretty solid now as well. Dr. Spoon, again, the birthday Nimble Zephyr Lynx, still very thankful for that. Squawk helping me out a bunch as well. Dr. Spoon, Bond Daddy Ratty after the Ratty Data Tournament. Once I did the cast for that, gave me a handful of tier 5s, which are pretty significant upgrades for me as well. And then Kieran Brown hooked me up big time when it came to my entire Squid line and a handful of the Beetles. So we're in progress. It's not necessarily been just my efforts. Of course, big efforts coming on through from the community as well. So I have massive thanks to give to everybody who's helped build my team. And I look forward to just continuing on. Still having an absolute blast here with Illuvium, the arena, and looking forward to more. Currently jumping between Destiny and Illuvium when you have time. Been working a lot of overtime. No, 100%. Definitely understand. I know I'm personally very fortunate to be in a position where I can stream a bunch, while I might not necessarily be in a spot where I can, like, spend recklessly, so to speak. At least I'm not struggling, so to speak, so I'm very, very thankful there. And then, yeah, having to work overtime, definitely understand it. Keep grinding, keep saving. First of all, we're waiting for our next game here as well. Also want to give the Heads up again that we do have House League happening tomorrow at 3:30 or 7:30 p.m. UTC. And it's going to be ownership off. I'm kind of surprised right now, though, in terms of registration numbers. Last time that we did this, I mean, I know it was, say, week 7 or 8 of House League, with the last time we did an ownership off version. A lot of people jumped at it back then, but as of right now, it seems a little bit on the quieter side. There's only 9 of you has actually signed up here for Illuvium Arena House League, the ownership off edition. But that means there's still plenty of room, of course. I'd love to be able to get, say, 2 lobbies going, with, say, the top 4 moving on into a final game. I have the prize structure broken down here as well. With there being no divisions, it means that I get to put all of the prizes into one single lobby, basically. You can showcase that in a second. Once again, flashbang incoming. Yeah, I can make it so that everybody who makes the final event gets at least something, which will be definitely quite nice. Of course, first place still going to be scoring 10 packs of Illuvials, but just making it into the finals is going to be very, very exciting and get you at least a little something. Not bad for a free entry, if I do say so myself. Where do I stand right now on this leaderboard? I know the top right section doesn't actually showcase that anymore. Oh, right there. I just kind of threw myself right on it. Did hit the top 35, so we did get a little bit of an upgrade. It wasn't in time, though, for the rewards, but that's a-okay. It was literally the difference between $2.50 and $5. Like, it's not the end of the world. I'm not going to lose my mind over that. Zajac and Thanatos, the 2 that I would have to pass next year to keep moving up. Almost ready for our next game. One of the things that was on my mind, or was kind of brought to my attention actually over the last day since we last streamed, was thinking about Illuvium Arena and how, like, affinities and how elements don't actually play as much of a factor than other creature capture kind of genres. Because normally I think of Pokemon, for example. Like, okay, you hit a fire Pokemon with a water attack. You're doing super effective damage. You're essentially doing double damage to it, right? And then you see stuff like that in basically everything. Temtem has this, Palworld has this. And then for Illuvium, it's really strange. I feel like it's a complete non-factor. Like, sometimes I'll call it out during commentary anyway, just as an additional, like, point to make things interesting. But, like, getting the additional attack speed, you really don't feel it, I'd argue. And when you're playing around, like, you don't ever play around it, so to speak. Like, I'm personally in the ballpark where, like, if, let's say if 6 Fire is super dominant like it is right now, I would absolutely love it if I was able to then, like, sideboard a Umber onto my team and do super effective damage against that fire team to punish them, so to speak. I don't know to what extent. I don't know if it'd be double damage or how you would do it. But personally, it just feels like the elements of the Illuvials don't really mean much right now, outside of the raw boost that it does give you in terms of the team play bonus. I imagine it would take another whole world of balancing, but I don't know. For whatever reason, at least to me, elements don't feel like they mean anything. It's like, imagine if, say, how Mystics are right now. If Earth Mystic is super, super dominant, then I wish we were able to just blow a hole through Mystics with water. If that makes sense. Okay, I'll level this guy up for now. I've got my 2 Lynxes, so I'm pretty happy with what I have. Something like that. Kind of hard to tell when the hyper thing is going on as well. I know you've got that yellow bar going, but to a newcomer, do they even see that? Yeah, so while you're scaling, you get the 0.5 attack speed up to 50. And then when your bar's full, then okay, sure, you get tankier, and then you get damage amp. I kind of wish the damage amp was immediate. It's a small nitpick, but definitely something I've been thinking about. So now, of the players here in this lobby, our Boots is definitely the one I need to keep my eye on the most, I feel like. We did have that fantastic back and forth in our last round. I'm going to pick up the shields. This thing, while it is a Scion weapon, it is a very tanky Scion weapon. So especially once I get TNT already, get that snail evolved, I can get a very, very early Granite. And a big problem with my team early is usually that it's just too damn squishy. But the Ranger can absolutely make up for that. Halcyon C, credits from win and loss streaks are doubled. Okay. So there's me and our Boots, and I think pretty much everybody else here is a bot, with the exception of Keira, who I believe is a newcomer. Scion Imprint will avoid that. Veterans Might, I mean, if I was going for Umber, that would be cool, the other option. No, Starting Energy, potentially. Maybe we do try... I don't know. I don't usually like the Starting Energy one, but we're going to get the Air Imprint instead. We're just going to go for attack speed, I suppose. Up against Keira now. Slowly but surely getting their squad leveled up. Glad they're able to do so, but I do feel bad in the meantime here. Because once again, I take absolutely no pleasure in being able to run over newcomers. My Tipo was one of the ones I needed to level actually kind of badly. It's level 18 at this moment. Okay, a very fast bull coming on through. I say that, and then I evolve it and immediately make it useless. Okay. Classic. So Scion's on board, looking fine there. We're up against our Boots now. Let's see if our double Lynxes can carry this fight. I have my augments onto the Lynx that has better stats, better levels. Ranger, good job holding the middle for the time being. My Lynxes are tag teaming the exact same Illuvial. That's fantastic. Took care of that Axon nice and quick. And because of that, we're going to be in great shape. It looks like our Boots might be setting up for some sort of Aegis-based build with that board. Toxic Aegis potentially around the corner. So we'll keep that in mind. This NPC round is going to allow us to get up to max credits, and because we're just been going full on with just win after win after win, keeping this win streak up, we are so ahead of the game in regards to credits, it's not even funny. You see the red chip coming on through? That's going to be a composite chip, so since I am more than likely looking at Invoker, I will pause for the time being until I at least get Scion linked up. The Nimble Lynx has arrived. This will allow me to get my Kiradulo onto the field. Level up one time here as well. I can't remember which Grotto it is that I'm supposed to be using, so we'll throw our Axon in, well, not our Axon, our Atlas into the fray. Hex Maps is one of the bots. We do see a Phantom chip coming on through. Let's get up set up here for potentially Bloom, Invoker. We do get Invoker, actually. Do I want to keep Bloom, though, at the same time? It's kind of interesting, but I feel like Invoker, just easier for me to perform. Field Tankiness, we'll take that one. We did see what I was able to pull off last time, where my Seaforest was in the corner with this augment on top of it, and it was able to completely absorb all of the shots from a Sinolf. Do like that idea, potentially doing that again. Kyra does have T-Anti, though, so I don't think I'm actually going to be able to force it. Not this time, anyway. I have my tanks, I just need at least Archos, or do I want to go try this completely Archos-less? Tankiness, let's do this part first. Let's turn the Lynx into an Invoker, because... not. Okay, Archos is now here. Yeah, instead of... we're gonna just completely... since we got... Since we got the Invoker chip, I can completely bypass Seaforest, which is just gonna let me power level. I think that's probably the best way to go. While I can potentially try and roll against Kyra, or Kyra... roll against Kyra? Yeah, I'm gonna be in the Death Note. But, go against Kyra here, against Snails. Probably could, but I'd rather not. Okay. Let's start to build our corner. Maybe even make you an Invoker for the sake of sustain if I wanted to. Let's see, if I'm really nervous, maybe we'll try that. But for the time being, let's set it up like this. We'll be ready for level 7 come the next round. So every time my Ranger pops the shield, and every time my Lynx fires off its Omega, with more and more damage coming through every single time, we'll be able to clean that one up nice and quick. And same feel bad for destroying new players, yeah. Like, I know there's some games out there where the entire intent of the game is to pay so much and build, like, such a crazy army that no matter who you're going up against, you just, like, destroy them, and that's the entire high of the game. But I feel like Illuvium's better than that. Field scaling, we'll take that. I'll grab the Tatofi, but I'm not too worried about actually evolving it. We'll keep getting tankier. Fling come onto the field. A quarter, or almost halfway actually, through level 7 now. Doka is basically coming for the ride as of right now. It's only level 22, so if I can keep it on for at least a little bit, grab a couple of levels before we get into the late game, gladly accept that. Little Valente sneaking through, going to mess up my little Flish. At least the first cast, but yeah, there we go. We're just going to clean up right after that. Lynx is still chewing away up on the top side there as well. Perfect. All good. Okay, level 7, of course, you no longer have any opportunity to get tier 0s, so cleaning up the Flish off the bench. That part's all fine. We still have the Grotto there just in case I want another Bulwark, potentially. Healing for 10% is not really enough. Bond, maybe. Resistances, maybe. I think we go for the resistances as a safety net, so to speak. Petty, welcome to the squad. Another tank to bring us to 4 bulwarks, so if I can get another level in, we'll be in position to go up to 5 very, very quickly. And then even though I don't necessarily have a super carry, I mean, the Lynx is the closest thing I get, but even still only level 30. I don't have any of my core scions yet. Another composite ship coming on through. Do we invoke her again? We could, actually. Yeah. I can literally just supercharge one invoker and then try something completely different. That's kind of funny. With Scarabok showing up, I'm going to make the switch here. Level halfway. Petty, come back for a second. Scarabok, I need to level ya. And in fact, Doka, come on back. Let's just get up to 5 bulwarks just like that. Invoker, let's throw that onto the Archos. Potentially continue sustaining here with the Resonating Impact Reactor. We are on absolute cruise control. It's just a matter of time before I find one of my big scions, whether it be the Alfie or whether it be Squiz. And then it's just a matter of evolving them into their Invoker status, and we have the easiest 4 Invoker that we've ever had. Heck, I can turn something like a foe into an Invoker if I really wanted to. You know what? Let's do that. My foe that I got from Bondaddy Ratty is a pretty solid one at that, but it does need levels. Could this be a way to potentially do that? Through sight and attack range? What's our boots going for? I mean, there is no need for that, but the attack range might be nice, actually. I'm going to slowly start building a rake just in case we do manage to land the Alfie. Or the Dulef, rather. Alright. Invoker Terrorbird. Coming on through. Let's level up and throw Dash in. Why not? Dash is also an Illuvial that I do need to begin to build up. I did not place my Ranger accordingly, given the suit that it has, so I'm going to have to fix that up. My foe's literally stuck here sitting on the job. But was not, of course, needed. At least not this time. Yep, Harbinger and full Tsunami. That sounds like an incredible squad. Very, very nice. How do you feel about Tsunami right now, actually, big man? Alright, here we go. So this would be Spore, eh? Spore Invoker. I can find an Adorito at some point, I'm sure. Can sell off that little Caribou. I'm probably just straight up missing Snail altogether. There we go. This time the foe actually got to get into the fight. It does pretty negligible damage, but we do have at least the Squiz to potentially hold the line. But again, now we're going up against our boots. This is where things get a little bit scary. We are going to finally lose our win streak. And what did they end up building? So this is a 4 nature, 4 water, with 4 toxic. Very scary. And as I talk about it, the Adorito has arrived. Dash, come back. Something like this, potentially. We can then get our foe to lock in. Not very clean, but it can work for the time being. The Phantom on that Singe is actually making it a little bit annoying. Now my foe could actually start attacking it. Alright, good stun from the Goliath. Stops that Seer. Lets that foe get into the fight. Everybody's still looking rather beautiful so far. Now, the one thing that's kind of annoying, since I'm going for 4 Invoker right now, and all I have is Squiz, it's a lot of evolutions to have to try and pull off. Okay, we do now have the Twine online. Something kind of like that here. Of course, this is just an NPC round, so no need to worry. I guess it's just a matter of what I end up finding more. The foe could absolutely be taken out if need be. Scion chip, I think it's more so... Yeah, I guess we can go for Scion since we didn't go for him too much this time. Or should I just go for Empath? I'm not 100% sure right now. Damage reduction might not be a bad idea. AoE damage to everything around it. I mean, we're kind of lacking in damage right now, right? So... maybe we do this, commit to the fighter style, give this to my Adorito. Or not my Adorito, my Ador. Keep screwing those two up, apparently, here today. Lock that in. There's one of our Squiz. Adorito is now here. There we go. So that is going to be a nice little addition. Give you the Omega chip for the time being. Still need to evolve that Hetty, so I actually don't necessarily want to evolve into level 10 yet. We do now have a Rake if we get into position to get a Dualef. Lots of damage coming out here from this one NPC, but thankfully the Ranger is just able to mitigate this for the most part. It's only the Ranger that actually makes it into the backline, which can be managed between Archos's route alongside the heal. We're going to be able to clean this up rather nicely. I think it's currently in a good spot, but lower on the end of the power scale. Energy gain is good, but having to use your Tsunami Illuvials in close combat makes it tough, especially for Axodon. Blood as well. Okay. That was one of the synergies that was brought up about what I thought about it, and I didn't know necessarily what to think. Okay, let's switch that one out. I'm not going to hit the Restorating Impact Reactor again, so I'm actually going to swap that. Do this once again. Could potentially throw the Invoker chip onto the Squiz, or not the Squiz, but the Octius. If I find I'm having a hard time just being outpaced with damage. But it doesn't really feel that way. So far, so good. In fact, we're like 1 nature away, again, from hitting 6. Yeah, Axodon's really the only one who could truly utilize it. And that's what I kept saying to the devs back then, or it would have been nil back then, but like the idea of Tsunami and the abilities that Tsunami have are good, but the problem is the Illuvials that use it just, they don't suck, but they have a hard time using it, if that makes sense. So Axodon, probably the closest thing that you can get, considering it's a tank. But yeah, Flood is in an odd spot because it's a tank, but it's not actually a tank. It's kind of like a battle mage kind of position, where you could tank with it, but not for too long. It just does make it tough overall. Tsunami, definitely one of those synergies that just feels like it's missing that one extra piece. Alright, Boris, Octius, we need your damage this time. This is our boots. This is what I'm worried about, and so far it looks like I have reason to be worried about. We do have the True Sight to at least mitigate the blinds, but as we're seeing, we shall fall here once again. Our Boots has a Blazonite alongside the Scoria. Oh, not Scoria, it's a Furiox. So, had a good little win streak there, so plenty of HP left to go. And we are about to hit level 10. I will start porting Adors as well. Level 10 online. I can add another Nature Illuvial potentially to get 6. Just kind of keep you at the back in case of any divers for other team compositions, but this one for now is fine. Is there anything I could be linking up with to do a little bit better? Honestly, now that the Flish is here, what I'm realizing what I should have actually done to get the power on both fronts here, I'd have double scaling. Ranger linked with the greater nature Flish. That would be Bloom Invoker, help my Forest, as well as the Ranger at the same time while Invoker is pumping. This could actually be the way to go. I'll keep the rake there just in case. We are going to get one more squiz. That's good. I think I'm content just keeping the rake. I'm not looking for any more. We'll get the NPC round and go from there. Our Boots, what are you looking for? So that's where all the headies are. Okay, so there's another Crunk on the bench. They're also looking to potentially contest. They have a handful of credits too, their max economy. And then the pressure would be on me to make the first move. It does look like they're picking up squids at the same time. Breach Pulse Reactor is huge. That's probably one of Octius's best augments. And we do get an energy one. Let's get the shield turning into Omega Power, just for a little bit of early game safety. Let's see. I don't want to sell these, but at the same time, I'm going for a bunch of things here. Okay, another Beetle. Another Octius. Are they actually threatening my squid? They have the one, but that's basically it. They are starting to spend now. I'll be keeping an eye on that. Because either next round... Oh, I screwed up. I didn't lock my Ranger in again. I keep talking about these cool team compositions, then I don't actually execute on it. Classic. Yeah, so our Boots, without question, will be able to eventually take care of this Forest and then take care of the rest of the team. But we held the line much longer, and we got a bunch of their Illuvials very low. Had I actually had Bloom on that Forest, that probably would have been a huge difference maker. But we do drop the ball in that regard. Yeah, look at how close this is. And I don't even have the drone augments that I want. I have absolutely no Omnivamp. That sounds like a you problem. 100% it is. Alright, let's get moving now. Finding Crunk is kind of nice. There's another Ador. There we go. Keep building. Let's get the Ranger situated right now. There we are. Garabok. Missing a lot of my Illuvials. There's the Titanor now online. That's kind of huge. One more squid. Can we find the Aphisto? No, but we're actually going to find something else pretty cool here. Let's get Adorius onto the field. I'm a little bit more confident with this squad as it stands now that Titanor is here to hold the line much, much longer. Get some of these good stuns on. Can my Forest survive now that Bloom is active? Oh, that chunk from the Rip Lance didn't even, like, let the Phase Breaker get involved. That's kind of brutal, actually. We're still going to lose this, I think, rather handily. And considering this is a meant to be a 4 Invoker team. We are going to come down right to the wire. There's one. We got to sell this one off and hope to hit it. Last possible roll. 4 Invoker now online. That's some streamer luck right there. My goodness. Wise, I think I got what I want there. Or I have what I want. I think this should be able to do it. I'm not too appalled with where my tanks are still. I mean, I don't feel comfortable, but let's see how it goes. Can we get the comeback on our boots once again? Aphisto rain down. First shot does get the kill, and we get the Sin off extremely quickly now that we have the extra firepower from that 4 Invoker. There we go. Forrest is doing a pretty good job as well. Did not get chunked immediately by the Rip Lance, which means Aphisto is going to be able to deal with it. Adorius, big heals from the Adorius here as well. Beautiful stuff. Similar situation, right on the verge of death, and we're going to hang on, I think. All right, what can they do to upgrade? How much credits do they have? Do they have everything? No, they did spend a handful. Let's lock that foe into place. Not like they'd be able to all in and hit it. Maybe I would like it for low building. Considering there's an NPC round coming up, might not be a bad idea. Yeah, that entire time I didn't actually have Invoker onto Octius, so that was a little bit of a miss on my end. That could have been that missing damage that I was looking for. But thankfully, now that we got the upgrade here onto Aphisto, that's going to be kind of huge. It's going to be the Rip Lance off on the left-hand side this time by. Gives my Forest a little bit more breathing room, but it's going to put more pressure onto my Caradulo alongside the Adorius. It's going to have that Rip Lance directly in my face. We need a big heal. There we go. Going to hang on, but we're completely out of tanks. The interrupt from the Blazonite's going to shut down the Adorius. Can we get some resets? Big kill here for Aphisto. We still have the Forest here at the exact same time, chipping away onto that Axodon. Make it rain. We're barely going to get the job done once again. Okay, we'll claim that. Our boots, what do you have here? It's still specifically Petty. They are essentially out of credits. The 6 nature feels extremely valuable in this instance. I'm debating with these 2 Alphys that are sitting here on my bench. Like, do I potentially swap out Alphys for a for the Flish? But that would get rid of the Bloom, and I'd have to rebind some sort of Invoker. My Ranger's not going to be at full utilization. We do end up finding Sinol. So I guess that would be the decision. Let's get a bunch of healing, actually. We're going to make this hella stupid. More shield onto Adorius. The older gains amount, potentially. Especially now that there is the healing over time. Make the swap. I'm going to put the Titanor over here. There is no... Oh, whatchamacallit? There is no Granite anyway. Technically, I could if I wanted to go for Harbinger, but I'm trying to push Invoker right now. Alright, make it rain, why don't we? First shot onto the Sinolf, not bad. Caradulo tanking everything rather nicely. And then my Goliath is still very safe, getting stuns onto some critical targets. And now Aphisto is starting to make it rain a little bit. Axodon does go down very quickly. And the heals coming out here from Adorius. This is just such a beautiful combo. When you do get Adorius plus Titanor, this thing just does not die. Alright, we're within position to reverse sweep onto our boots again. They're trying their damnedest. I think I do have a little bit of a level advantage. I will give them credit there. That's so close. Do they have anything in the bank that they could go for? Does not look like it. So what I think I'll try and do... Can we find one more? There we go. Phosphorus online. Let this be the nail in the coffin, so to speak. Yes, that Riplance going up against my Titanor is going to be extremely terrifying. So like I said, there's Sota. Riplance loves those high HP targets, given the fact that its damage is percent-based. Big shot coming on through. Adorius is not going to be able to heal in time. We need to get rid of Riplance. Couple of shots coming in through from the Aphisto. It's super low, and I think that Riplance move might have just won them the game if my Phosphorus cannot clutch things up. It's still alive on the top side there. But losing the Aphisto was such a massive loss. I think it might be too much. Yep. Good move, our boots. Able to switch over the Riplance at the last possible second directly in front of my Titanor. Shredded it, and because of that, we will end up losing this game. Congratulations, our boots. Well played. GG. Bunch of levels here into a handful of Illuvials, so I'm happy about that. And I'll take the second. Was it winnable? 100%. I just need to actually keep an eye on my Titanor a little bit more, especially since I was just talking about it. But it was a good one. Alright, I don't recognize any players in the lobby with the exception of Hogan, so they're going to be my next one. I think we've got one more game after this that we can pull off. Thank you. Lots of nature fish here today, apparently. We can level up our little baby Atipo for the time being. Is Cyberbag a player by chance? It looks like they are, actually. Welcome, Cyberbag. As always, we're rooting for you. Okay, load up with fire, potentially, to start off this one. Region-wise, Crimson Waste, so it's just going to be drone damage based. Augment Brawler. Can't go wrong, except for the fact that I didn't get Restorating or Phase Breaker. That's kind of annoying. Okay, the Greater Water Grotto, they can go in. Speaking of Cyber, there they are. You are level 42. Swap you. Something like this, get you all beefy and tanky. I imagine a Grocko with the augment on top of it should be able to hold the line rather nicely. Yep, sure enough, that's going to be the case. Yeah. I don't know about the overwhelming majority, because I'm kind of torn on something. Like, a while ago, we had gotten a patch for Arena that amplified the ownership bonuses, like, rather heavily, right? And then we got an additional patch that had it essentially being used as it was intended, because that ownership benefit wasn't being used properly. don't know if it's just me, because I'm in that position where my team is, like, say, average level 40, and I would benefit off of what I'm about to say, but am I wrong for thinking that just ownership, the amount of stats you get, is just too damn powerful in its current state? Because on one hand, yes, I get you're buying your Illuvials, you're catching these really good Illuvials, and you should have edge, but you shouldn't be able to free win, if that makes sense. That just feels weird to me. Like, I remember a couple of months ago, before they had made the change and before they had made the bug fix to allow for ownership stats to actually do as intended, as a level 40 average player, I would be able to compete with Fox Spirit, for example. And I would be able to give, like, say, Sota, I'd give you a slight run for your money. I would lose 9 times out of 10, but on that rare instance where everything goes my way, I could pull it off. Now it just doesn't feel like it's even possible. And that personally upsets me. Like, I agree, again, I agree you should have edge. I'm not going to say you shouldn't. Just like with competitive Pokemon, for the longest time, those that grinded it out to have, like, perfect IVs and EVs onto their Pokemon, yeah, they would have edge. It's a tiny bit, but it's enough to make the difference for professional play. I wish we had something similar. Where, yes, you would have edge, but not like a 40% edge, if that makes sense. That feels excessive. Now, I know, Big Man, I think you're kind of in the same position as me as well, if I recall, because majority of your team, I think, is like 40 to 50, if I recall correctly, right? Alright, we got our baby Lynx, and I'm trying to level up currently onto the battlefield. Little Archie gonna hold the line as well, so we should be in a pretty decent spot for this early game. It's been a while since I got to compete with Hogan, though, so I'm very curious as to how they shall perform. In fact, while I'm in this one, it looks like, even though we are leveled down, yeah, the squad's gonna be able to hold. So let's see, what's Hogan cooking? Average level of 35, so okay, right there with me, essentially. Level 40s, level 50s, yeah, so this is actually a pretty even battle. I have the slightest of overall advantages, but not by much. And then I don't know about all of yous, but Ranger level being tied to average Illuvial level. How do you feel about that? Personally, I think it's okay, but I feel like it could be done better. I don't know how, but I don't know. It feels weird being so hard punished for, say, Illuvials that you don't own, for example. Like, you might have a brutal collection of 60s, but just because you're missing a few tier 0s means all of a sudden now you're being killed off a bunch of levels that you could have. Let's get Caribou in here now. So I'm currently set up with the weapon that I would like here. Now we're up against Hogan, actually. There we go. And we're dealing with Mystic. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, set up here for my traditional Scion-based build. And this will be a nice, interesting test, in my opinion, because Mystics, of course, you knock them down to half HP, they get damage amplification as well as damage taken reduced. But they tend to be a more tanky team without a ton of DPS unless they also go for Scoriax. If a team is going to try and just outlive me, Wouldn't Invoker be perfect for that, in theory? Like, I'll just get stronger to the point where I can absolutely blow a hole through your team. That's what I'm going to be curious about. We'll have some ways to go here. Hogan's going to get the better at me this time by. Let's get rid of the Rye. Evolve our Axon. Another Lynx online. News. Should we be able to take this? I feel like we should. Maybe we give these tank augments onto my actual tank for the time being. Recycle this. I think the Ranger needs a bit more of a buff. They still feel very squishy. 100%. I feel like the only time the Ranger actually feels like a tank is if you're using the Sprout Guard, where it's the Scion Earth weapon. But if you're intentionally trying to make it a tank through bulwarks, yeah, it feels completely negligible. It ends up kind of being more of a bruisery support, but even then, they just can't hold their own at all. Perfect. We will clean this one up rather nicely. Hey. Cyber. So we got another tank augment. Now we can give this one to our Lynx, actually. Because I think we can evolve this thing. There we go. Hello, beautiful. Relentless Zephyr Lynx gonna get to come play today. And Totopi is here as well as my Atipo. So there we go. Essentially everything that I could want evolved right now has evolved. With the exception of Archie and then getting Kiradulo. But I could live without those, to be honest. I can start looking towards levels now. Now, where does the Relentless Zephyr Lynx fit in a Scion team? It doesn't. But it's me and I like Lynxes, so that's my justification. It wouldn't be me if I didn't. So we'll start using our extra credits here in a second to start pushing levels, staying above 70. That way I'm going to just keep continuing to get the maximum amount of interest every single round here. If I feel like my win is threatened, I'll just use that extra credits towards level instead. But I feel pretty confident so far. There we go. Karadulo coming on through. Boost Jake. We'll add that credits on through. Yeah, like if I feel threatened, I can absolutely level up more past 70. But I have a hunch that we're actually in a pretty good spot. They're very tanky fellows coming on through. 2 more to put towards level 7. And just slowly but surely start loading up the field. Since we do have a T-Ante this time, we can actually look into Granite and potentially block Hogan here. And one thing that I'm debating on doing, if this does end up being, or to maybe even prevent it, maybe I could just do this preemptively. Get to level 9, start taking not just Elks, but take the Ebbs as well. Because Mystics get completely dunked if people are actually contesting their units. So if I just happen to make one of my healers this game the Ebb, turn it into the Flood, maybe start looking for Geyser, while also looking for Hulks, it could work rather nicely. The healing over time might be the way to go. Try and keep on pace here with the Mystics. We will hit level 7. Flish, come play for a minute. Now, my dear Greater Nature Flish, one of my most used Flish, actually. Probably going to hit level 50 this game. Happy for that. What do we get here? Composite chip. Okay. But we've hit both of our Scions. This is interesting. Okay, Squiz can play. Alfie can play. Can't go here? Can we get a restorating? We can. Give that to you. If I turn this into Toxic Invoker for a second, we will hit it. Invoker links. Welcome back. And level a little bit past, but I can sell a Illuvial if I need to. Again, this is just temporary. This is a very greedy early setup of having so many squishy Scions, but given the current state of the lobby, I do feel a little bit confident in being able to do that. If I was playing up against a crazy team of 8, I would absolutely not be able to do this. Ador, there's one big healer. Okay. So from the front, TNT, you can block. Ador, come sneak in here. Everybody else snuggle. Lich, you can go. The tier 0s, you can go. Your time's done. Do it this way for the time being. Utilize TNT for that Battle Mage potential where it's not completely wrecked if it's tanking at least maybe 1 or 2 Illuvials at most. And it can truly turn a fight. And we're now seeing it's actually allowing for my links to really ramp up a little bit. Would Harbinger be better right now? I mean, possibly, but given, again, the state of the lobby, I'm able to abuse it a little bit. Okay, now we actually have Toxic Invoker online. And continue to push towards level 9, which is where I plan on making my main move. What's up with Hogan? Where have they gone from here? Do see 2 of the Mystics on board. Yeah, this screams stall to me. This screams Mystic, like full-on defensive Mystic. So, I think Invoker's not a bad idea. Granted, I'm biased considering that's my main team composition, but I think this could genuinely work out nicely. 4 Links is trapped, but now it's going to be able to get into the fight. It's going to be nice and ramped up a little bit now that my Ranger got a few casts in. I very well could replace the Grocko for a Flare, but I kind of want to level him up a little bit, and I'm getting 4 water because of it. A little bit of bonus energy regen can go a long way when doing a bunch of spell casts. And there's the Mammoth, so that's my last Scion to get to 5 Scion. Can I hit level 9? Not immediately. Am I confident in being able to get this? I mean, Rampike could still screw my day up. I think we'll play for greed and just run it anyway. The Rake was the one thing I was specifically looking for. I mean, I should have kept the look at that Stabbin as well, considering it actually has augments onto it. But with these Illuvials being around level 25, I think I can just win an outright level power. And it was the right decision overall. If this was going up against somebody a little bit stronger, I could not play this way 100%. Yeah, with Cyber already been taken out, everybody else here is essentially a bot around that level 20 to 30 range. So it's going to allow us to get a bunch of wins, if I do recall correctly. Or if I do call it correctly, rather. Mammoth now being here means 5 Scions online. I am now going to be immune from crowd control, which with that Bird Knights coming on through here is something I definitely need to keep an eye on. Being able to just completely avoid it and not worry about it is way better, in my opinion, than constantly having to reposition myself. Oh, man. Restorating, yes please. Second Blossom damage. Where is the energy reduction? There it is. We'll take that for more Invoker cast. There's Hogan. Okay. I am going to just straight up beeline it towards level 10. We're halfway through 9 now. We're going to do double Restorating Impact Reactor. That plus an Invoker chip, so not only am I getting health and resistances on every kill, but I am also just getting stronger again thanks to Invoker. Hopefully, in these next couple of rounds, we'll be in a position where we can actually start getting some of our later game tanks, too, because if you look at my tank line, it's actually really weak right now. But also some of my later game Scions and carries. The Lynx is doing well, but I'm completely of the mindset that I'm going to have to switch this out at some point. Alright, come on, Lynx. I'm able to chew through some decent AoE coming on through between the Mammoth and Alfie combo, but again, it's still just the babies, so they don't actually hit very hard. Lynx, hang in there, get a couple kills. Not quite going to be able to stop past that Axon, so we will end up falling here. But still, credit-wise, I'm comfy. We're almost at level 10. Hogan's good in regards to credits as well, but they're level 8, so I'm in a bit of a better spot. Combat Rhythm, that would be huge. Let's get that. Adorito has arrived. Do we go for another Restorator? Potentially, or do I go Phase Breaker to maybe keep my Mammoth alive? I think we'll try that, actually. Keep Mammoth alive a little bit longer. Going up against one of the bots. I could push to level, but I'm going to refrain. Should be able to clean house, I do believe. Yeah, as soon as I start getting a couple of my other carries, I can start moving these augments around. The Lynx is doing a fantastic job here. I can maybe start looking to build the emergency steam rake. I don't have any of the mystics to block right now. And sure enough, they are trying to stealthily build it. So let's make sure that we do not ignore any of those. Okay, I will push level 10 this time. Try and stop it. Stop losing to Hogan here. Yes, the ebb isn't, well, not the ebb, but the flood has now arrived. Let's grab Fury here as well. Let's just try to be an absolute menace with our alluvial pickups. Because their whole thing is hitting a bunch of tier 4 and above fully evolved alluvials. Look at the lag spike there. It seems we will get cleaned up. But as soon as we get some firepower here, we're just missing. Hogan's still about 50 credits left to go. How many deer? They only have the one elk, actually. So I'm ahead on the elk race, actually, as well. Alright, let's find some pistol shrimps. Let's find some squids. Let's actually get some firepower. I mean, I'll take an elk, too. I'm not going to complain about that. In fact, I'll push relatively decently this round. Re-Invoker now online. Lynx, thank you for your service. Flood, come play. Invoker chip onto the Octius. I'm not going to make that mistake again. Lynx, thank you. Go up to 10. I don't want to blow the entire amount of credits that I have. But I'm okay with using a bunch here. Now we just got to ramp up a little bit. Because off the start, it's going to be rough, but we can actually start getting some power. We will be in great shape. They don't have much power themselves. They're relying on 2 Mystic to keep them alive and let that Furiox go. But my Sinolf was actually able to 100 to 0 their Sinolf. Their damage is gone. And between my Flood and my Adorito, we're doing pretty good. Timeouts are definitely a possibility. But as long as we get the healers down, we'll be in great shape. There we go. Give Hogan their first loss. I do not want to wait until the NPC round finished. Well, it'd probably be wiser, actually, too. Just throw a Furiox in here just for shits and giggles. Are they looking at foe at all? Not at least on the field. No, actually. Maybe just do that instead of the Fury. Do have the Steam potential. There's another Ador. Support augment. Healing. Sinolf, you take that. Energy. And we could try the ramping up one of the Omega Power. Do something like that. Do something like this. Let's lock this into place. They are very close to getting Scoriox, so I do not want to throw my snake back into the pit. And my forest was essentially negligible. It did not have much impact in that fight whatsoever. Good immunity coming out here from the Scions. And am I building too many things, I wonder? Not as much of a decisive battle this time by. Very close still. That Furiox still very healthy. Sinolf just going after the healer over and over and over again. Bow might have been a bit of an overextension move. Not gonna lie. Black Forest, come back. Break, come back. Make them spend. They've spent. Now I can sell. Oh, this is annoying. Squiz. Aphisto. They have arrived. Screw it, Invoker Ebb. And one more additional Adorito onto the field because I'm too damn slow. But alright, here we go. We got scrappy, but I at least now have a way to reach that back line regardless of how it's angled. They're still stuck at 2 Mystic, and Hogan seeing right now, yeah, that's the big one coming on through. Level 60 Aphisto gonna try and crack the egg that is this Mystic squad from Hogan. Flood, keep casting, buddy. Lots of heals all over the place, and having something that could actually hit the back line seems to be doing wonders. Didn't even see where that cast came through, though. That was Granite Invulnerability. We just need this to hit while overtime pulses are happening. Get rid of the Adorito. There we go. We're back in the game. Now, my biggest issue is that I had to spend so much to actually get that. It stopped my potential of getting Dual F. Still need one more Illuvial. This double Adorito, the way that I want to go here. That can be hilariously obnoxious, actually. I have no thresholds to hit other than maybe water. So you know what? Screw it. Yeah, double Adorito. My old Adorito is still pretty strong as well. The one that I'm leveling is a little bit weaker, but 40, 48, and 53, so I have a potential for a ton of healing if we could just survive this first initial burst. Looking a little rough, at least off the start. Good shunt from the Mammoth. Another good cast from the Sinolf. But getting resets against this team is very difficult. It's that Crunk. There it goes. Give me another cast. We do have Omnivamp, of course, onto that Ophisto as well. This is getting scrappy, though. They don't have damage, but they have healing for days. And we're going to be able to survive. Sustain Ophisto, I think, might be able to hold on for us as long as we can burst through enough before this overtime pulse goes through. There we go. Is there a world, actually? Hang on. Can we get Goliath? We do! Okay. Ignore double Adorito. That was funny, but not this time. Goliath, come through. They've spread themselves out. They're obviously worried about the Sinolf, but Ophisto doesn't care where you're positioned. The last battle, one way or another. Again, this is a 4 Granite squad, so they are consistently finding opportunities of invulnerability. But we are ramping up with every cast, and we now have a Goliath online with our own Granite to help defend the front lines. Sinolf, get your shot in directly. Here comes Ophisto, kill off the Adorito. Absolutely going to be on point. There we go, with the big healer down. I think it's just a matter of time. We just have to deal with that Furiox, which Sinolf, it has its number. It's ready to go. And a valiant effort here from Hogan, but we will end up being victorious this time. Just a matter of dealing with that Goliath, which will be getting taken out sometime soon. There we go, we win another one. Sweet. 16 points to the good, and we're going to be getting a bunch of experience. My Graco was on the field that entire time, too. Massive 10k experience payday there for it. Relentless Zephyrlink's going to find a level here, too. Heck yeah. That was a good one. GG's. Now, unfortunately, that one went a little bit longer than I was expecting, so that will be the final game of the day. But I'm going to come chill here for a little bit. I'm not going to close out just yet. Well, fun games for to everybody. If GG's, thank you for playing. Things honestly went my way for the most part here today. Got to actually give a decent showcase of what Invokers can actually do. I hate that a lot of the times that lobbies are, say, 3 or less players right now. But I imagine the right changes, the right push, and Arena can be right there. It can be popping off. I miss the days of when, say, Illuvium Pro League was going on and getting 6 to 8 player lobbies was essentially the norm. I genuinely miss that, and that's where you get the most beautiful stages here for Illuvium. Makes it easier to balance too, because, like, of course, we look at the ratty data side of things, and with all the potential team compositions, the one that are doing very, very well. I mean, I feel like even in a 2-player lobby, it wasn't a perfect example, but this was at least a little bit of an example. While yes, Granite Mystic is easily the best team composition in the game if you hit it. And the thing is people are splashing the Mystic units into their team comp. Well, it's really hard for that Mystic player to actually land that team. So yeah, by a long shot, by over 100 wins, Granite Mystic is the best team in the game, but it's like you're trying to summon Exodia. You have to land all the pieces, and there's no saying that you're going to actually draw the pieces you need. So Mystic, while it is strong, I oddly enough feel like the game is balanced for it. In terms of things being strong, honestly, it might just be 6 fire. In the current state of Arena, how it stands, it might just be 6 fire with the percent health damage that you do. Because, yes, Mystic is strong, but if you hit for Mystic, then it should be strong, if that makes sense. It's the same thing with Behemoth. But the only reason why we're seeing it so often is because there's next to nobody in lobbies. Like whenever we even do Illuvium Arena House League, or like Ratty Data events. When people try to go for Mystic, how often are they actually successful? When players are going for Behemoth, how often are they actually successful? If they're successful, it's because they're in a one-on-one at the end game, and they finally hit their units. It's very rarely like a complete run-over, so to speak. So it's like there are some things I think that do need help. Like Shock, for example. Shock is absolutely abysmal. Considering how hard it's like trying to hit Mystic, but the damage doesn't make any sense. It's nowhere near strong enough to actually warrant that difficulty of hitting. Like Mystic, it might be okay. 6 fire needs a tune down potentially, but Behemoths, they might be okay. It's all about the difficulty in actually hitting it. And I feel like it'd be so much more difficult if we actually had full lobbies. But today was a lot of fun, of course. This isn't going to be the last stream, of course, of the week. We do have one happening tomorrow. Of course, Illuvium Arena House League. The Ownership Off Edition will be happening tomorrow around our normal stream time. Of course, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time or 7:30 p.m. UTC. Get into the action. Sign-up sheet for that House League event is in the description of this stream. Again, completely free to enter. You can absolutely come compete here because this, again, ownership off. Levels, stats do not mean a thing this time. If you think that you have the skills in Illuvium to show our top players how it's done, and that it's always just your team and the levels and the stats that are holding you back, well, this week is the week to showcase it, as the entire final lobby, the entire top 8, will be getting some prizes no matter what. Just gotta land yourself into that top 8, and right now we do have 10 signups as of this moment, so your chances of actually making that final table, or making that final lobby, they're pretty good if I do say so myself. So make sure you're signed up, get on into this. You don't want to miss it. It should be a very, very fun time. Then, of course, it will be going into next week. Monday, we're going to have a little bit of a discussion topic. I'm going to be ranking my favorite Illuvials. I'm very surprised I've not done this yet, but I'll take all of the Illuvials at least by species or by their line. I'm not going to rank, like, say, Atlas, Axon, and Axodon separately, but we'll do it all as one. Rank my favorites. You'll get to see which ones I hate, of course, as well. Always a fun time. And then any sort of discussions around Illuvium could potentially happen. I know personally the topic of what would I do in regards to legendary Illuvials, and just kind of theory crafting around that. We'll have some fun discussing Illuvium. Tuesday, we'll see. We might touch on Deathmatch once again. I had a lot of fun, honestly, with Deathmatch last week. If things go my way, maybe we'll do it again. Wednesday, of course, will be This Week in Illuvium for some more news. Hopefully some good news as always. Getting auto drone runs back, last week or yesterday was a nice surprise. And I hope for some more good news as well. Hector, good to see you. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Thank you for signing up for House League as well. Just saw you there. Looking forward to seeing you on the battlefield. Thursday we'll see. Friday again will be House League. We'll be back to an ownership model on that week. Yeah, I'm enjoying my first week of 5 days of streaming. As long as things keep going my way, we'll keep doing it. As long as I'm having fun here, we'll keep doing it as well. Love hanging out with you guys day in and day out, because this community makes the game, honestly. But we shall be closing things out once again here before we do House League tomorrow. I'll also be throwing a brief schedule as well into the Illuvium Discord in regards to everybody who has already signed up, so you know exactly which match is which. I'm just wrapping up for the day. I already got my games in for the last 2 hours or so, so I'm going to be closing things out here for today. We had a pretty good one, not going to lie. Actually, pretty positive day overall. And then last but not least, of course, with auto drone runs back, if you happen to be fueling up for it, one way that you can support me a little bit is by using my referral code if you have not done so already. Anytime fuel is purchased with my code on, I do get a little bit of a kickback, which then comes back to support me, as well as go towards prizing for Illuvium Arena House League, for example, and the other events that I do. Say for the community rescue, for example. If I'm missing certain Illuvials, with that kickback fuel that I do end up getting, I can very well turn that into some Illuvials to add to the community rescue. Some of the ones that I'm missing, especially some of the tier 5s. That's kind of my game plan of what I'm going to do with it for the next little bit. So, it'd be huge if you're able to use the code, of course. And if you're new here, of course, and you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, I've been doing everything since last August here with Illuvium. I've been hard focusing it, been having an absolute blast doing so, and there's still so much more to come. Arena is fantastic, and then all the other games are fantastic in their own right as well, except for Zero. We need something to actually do within Zero, but still, plenty of potential around the corner here with Obelisk Rising also coming out as well. So I'm very excited to continue my adventures here with Illuvium. It's been an absolute blast, and I look forward to more adventures as well, which of course will start again tomorrow with Illuvium Arena House League. Hope to see you there. Good luck in any of your matches. Good luck in your training ranger. Have a fantastic night.
Woke up tired, didn't sleep all night. Mine's still running like a traffic light. Red for stop and green for go. I'm stuck somewhere in between them both. Brushed my teeth and checked my phone. Everyone looks like they've already grown. Smiling faces, perfect lives. I'm here asking, what am I doing with mine? I don't have a plan, I just have today. Trying not to throw the little good away. Heart's still heavy, but I'm still here. Taking one small step through the fear. I'm tired, but I'm not giving up. I'm scared, but I'm still showing up. One small step is enough today. I'm not fine, but I'm on my way. I'm tired, but I'm not giving up. I'm scared, but I'm still showing up. One small step is enough today. I'm not fine, but I'm on my way.